Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. Here we go, guys. Our last set of rankings before Selection Sunday. You know, all year long, we've been out here every Monday bringing you our Gridiron Expert Top 25, our own rankings based on our thoughts and our opinions and our metrics and our system. That, of course, is what we're bringing you today, heading into Week 14, heading into Conference Championship Weekend, a huge one for some of the top teams in the country, still trying to solidify themselves as a top 4 team. But we've been bringing that to you every Monday, and this will be the last one because in less than a week, we will know who the top 4 teams are. We will know who is in the college football playoff, and of course, we'll know where everybody else in the top 25 and outside will be going bowling in this postseason. So we are here to break down our final set of rankings, guys, some of which may be a big surprise to you. Let's go ahead and get down to it. Before we do, welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. As always, make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below, guys. Go sign up for our expert picks. We are on a 33-17 run over the last 5 weeks. We're hitting 66% of our bets over the last 5 weeks. You're not going to find a mark better than that in the entire country. You're not going to find an overall mark better than that in the entire country. You're going to be very hard pressed too. So go check it out. Sign up today. It's one of the cheapest prices in the country, one of the best deals in the country, and it's a year-long subscription. So you buy them now, you've got them all the way to the end of next November. So you're not getting gypped or anything. It's the entire package. So make sure to go sign up for that today, guys. Make sure to check out MyBookie. Use their promo code, our promo code over on their site. The link and promo code are down in the description. All of that down in the description, guys, is there to help you make money. And who doesn't want to make a little extra cash going into this holiday season? So take advantage of MyBookie. Take advantage of our expert picks. Take advantage of PrizePicks. Take advantage of BetNow. Everything there is for you. Help us help you. Love football. Make money. Can't get any better than that, right? So let's take a look at our Gridiron Expert Top 25, guys. It's been quite the journey. This will be the last set of rankings, so we're going to try to make it short and sweet. And again, we'll start at the top. Georgia, number 1. There's no dispute. There's no arguing. There's no case. Georgia is the undisputed number 1, and Georgia is a guaranteed lock for the college football playoff. Even if Georgia were to lose to Alabama in the SEC championship game, the Bulldogs will not fall from 1st to 5th. Georgia is in. It's just a matter of where they will be seated. They win, they're number 1. They lose, probably somewhere at number 2 or number 3. Michigan is in at number 2 for us. After their 15-point victory over Ohio State, they jumped up from 4th, where we had them, to 2nd. Michigan deserves that. Beating Ohio State by 15 points, rushing for nearly 300 yards on the Buckeyes, they deserve their spot over Alabama, who was 3rd in our rankings last week, 3rd now, who barely survived Auburn 24-22 in triple overtime. The last 3 SEC games for Alabama have been decided by 1 possession. 6 points against LSU, 7 against Arkansas, 2 in triple overtime against Auburn. Alabama simply hasn't looked like the Alabama that we are used to seeing. Now, again, they still, to me, are a top 4 team, and they will prove that if they can beat Georgia in the SEC championship. But if they do not, Alabama will not and should not be in the college football playoff, especially not as a 2-loss team that didn't even win their conference. The Crimson Tide are 3rd for now, but they are playing for everything on Saturday. Cincinnati is in at number 4. The Bearcats are undefeated. They're 12-0, and they've started to peak a little bit. You know, everybody was criticizing them for those close victories earlier a few weeks ago. Well, now they've kind of picked it back up. Big win against SMU. Big win against a solid East Carolina team. Cincinnati's 12-0. They have a chance to put another top 25 win on their resume if they beat Houston. And really, you have to make the case, guys, if Cincinnati beats Houston in the AAC championship game, how can the Bearcats be left out? The committee had them at number 4 last week. We have them at number 4 now. We moved them up a spot from 5th to 4th. If they beat Houston, they deserve to be in, and their case will be strengthened, and their chances will strengthen even more if Georgia beats Alabama, or if Michigan loses to Iowa in the Big Ten Championship. If just one of those teams ahead of them loses, not named Georgia, because Georgia's a lock, then Cincinnati's in. The worst case for Cincinnati would be Alabama beats Georgia, and then you maybe have a team like Oklahoma State slip in there, because they could be a 1-loss Big 12 conference champion. So Cincinnati is far from a lock, but their chances are going to look really, really good if they can just take care of business on Saturday. Notre Dame is in at number 5, up a spot. The Fighting Irish are not out, guys. The one disservice, I guess, thing that Notre Dame does not have going for them is the fact they do not have a conference championship game. So they're going to need some help. Notre Dame's going to need to really hope that Michigan and Alabama, maybe even Cincinnati, lose. Because, you're looking at this. You could see the Big 12 champion get in if it is Oklahoma State. Baylor as a 2-loss team. It would be interesting to see what the committee does in that situation. But if spots open up with a loss from Michigan, from a loss from Alabama, certainly from a loss from Cincinnati, Notre Dame could slip in there. The Fighting Irish are 11-1. 45-14 win over Stanford to conclude the year. Only loss is to Cincinnati. So, again, not a bad loss at all. So Notre Dame not out, but they're going to need some help. Oklahoma State is 6 for us. If they win the Big 12 championship, you can't help but wonder, how can they be left out? They're a 1-loss conference champion, Big 12 conference champion, and we've seen that nonstop in years past because they've given that treatment to Oklahoma. Oklahoma has been a 1-loss Big 12 champion, has been put in. How do they get left out? Oklahoma State, I believe, gets left out if Alabama beats Georgia. If Alabama beats Georgia, Georgia's in, Alabama's in, Michigan's in if they beat Iowa, and then it's battle between Cincinnati and Oklahoma State, and that's where the committee's going to have to make up their mind. Do they put in the Group of 5 conference champion and Cincinnati, 13-0, or do you put in the 1-loss Big 12 champion in Oklahoma State? That is the million-dollar question here. The Cowboys, far from out of it. They've got to take care of business on Saturday. They're 6th in the country. Their defense is elite. Offense is picking it up. But that's going to be the big storyline right now, is really who gets that 4th spot. Will it be Cincinnati? Will it be Oklahoma State? Could it be Notre Dame? That's going to be the million-dollar question. Ohio State in at 7. They dropped 5 for us. They now have 2 losses. Ohio State still has a path to the playoff. It's just going to need absolute chaos ahead of them. Michigan needs to lose. Bama needs to lose. Cincinnati needs to lose. Oklahoma State needs to lose. There's a possibility, guys, where Alabama or Ohio State or even Baylor could get in as a 2-loss team if so many teams ahead of them lose. It's possible. Ohio State, to me, does not deserve to drop out of the top 10. Ohio State's still an excellent team. They just got routed by Michigan. 15 points, allowing nearly 300 rushing yards. But Ohio State's still a very good team. To me, still above other 10-win teams such as Ole Miss, Baylor, and Oregon, who round out our top 10. Baylor at 8, Ole Miss at 9, Oregon at 10. The Bears and Ole Miss did not move in our rankings. Oregon moved 2 spots up because some teams ahead of them lost, and the Ducks rebounded, beating Oregon State 38-29. So that rounds out our top 10, guys. And again, I really think the top 6 teams are the ones that are really contending for a playoff spot right now. But again, Baylor has a case if they beat Oklahoma State to get into the college football playoff. It's really just a matter of who could help them out ahead of them. I don't see the committee putting in a 2-loss Baylor team, in that 4th spot. If Alabama loses and there's a 4th spot, 2-loss Baylor is not getting in over, shouldn't get in over a Notre Dame, right? That's probably not going to happen. Again, conference championship will hold a lot of weight, so Baylor's certainly not out of it if they beat Oklahoma State, but that 2-second loss is going to be crucial to them. It's going to be very interesting to see what the committee does if that's how it plays out. So that rounds out your top 10 there. Moving to the second column, Utah is up to number 11, up 2 spots for us. They were 9-3 on the year, beat Colorado 28-13. Not the best showing for Utah, but hey, a win's a win. They're in the Pac-12 championship, are rematch against Oregon, who they just beat 38-7, ruined Oregon's playoff hopes. So it's going to be a big showdown. Oregon, as we mentioned last week, still ahead of Utah because 10-2 versus 9-3. Yes, Utah owns the head-to-head, but Oregon still deserves that spot, and that win over Ohio State still holds some weight. So Oregon just ahead of Utah. Houston in at number 12. Everybody will say that's too high. Are we forgetting that Houston has won 11 straight games? Houston dropped their season opener to Texas Tech, won 11 straight. If Houston was 12-0, where would you rank them? If Houston was 12-0, where would you rank them? Are we going to put that much stock into one loss to a Power 5 team in Texas Tech who is, in fact, going bowling? I'm not. I think Houston's a very, very good team. Their defense is very solid, and they, on paper, are neck and neck with Cincinnati. These are 2 almost identical teams when it comes to the AAC championship game. So Houston is going to give Cincinnati a fight on Saturday, and I believe the Cougars are the real deal. I genuinely do. 11 straight games. I don't care who you're playing against. It's very, very difficult to do. So Houston in at number 12. Lower for most people, not for us. BYU in at 13th. 10-2 on the year for BYU, and Kalani Sitake beat USC 35-31. The Cougars moving up 4 spots in our rankings. Oklahoma is down 4 in our rankings. The Sooners finished 10-2. Oklahoma is a team in turmoil right now. Lincoln Riley has jumped ship, kind of screwed them over a little bit. He's going out to USC. The Sooners just lost to Oklahoma State for the first time in 6 years. So they're not going to the Big 12 championship. They're not going to go to the playoff. Their season's done. Right? Oklahoma might still go to a decent bowl game, but they don't care too much about that, right? For a team that's consistently been making playoff berths, consistently winning the Big 12, this is a down year for the Sooners. They have dropped 4 spots in our rankings following the loss to Oklahoma State, 10-2 on the year. Now the search is on for who will replace Lincoln Riley in Norman. Iowa is in at 15, 10-2. Also, Iowa in the Big Ten championship game because Wisconsin lost to Minnesota. We'll touch on the Badgers shortly. Iowa is in the Big Ten championship game because they beat Nebraska last week, came back down 21-9 to win that game 28-21. And then, of course, Wisconsin lost to Minnesota, so that opened the door for Iowa to win the West and face Michigan in the Big Ten championship game. This team is good, guys. We know Iowa's good. Remember, at one point in time, they were the number 2 team in the country. Michigan State down to number 16, but moving up 3 spots. They were 19th for us last week following the 56-7 loss to Ohio State. They jumped up 3 spots. Teams ahead of them lost, but jumped up 3 spots for beating Penn State 30-27. Wake Forest also up 3 spots to number 17. Big win over Boston College, solidifying themselves as the Atlantic Division champions in the ACC, which will set up a Wake Forest versus Pittsburgh ACC championship game. Pittsburgh coming in at number 18, taking care of Syracuse rather easily this Saturday. Pittsburgh also 10-2. So it should be a great quarterback battle between Sam Hartman and Kenny Pickett. Wake Forest, Pittsburgh, ACC title game. No one saw that matchup coming back in the preseason. So it should be a lot of fun on Saturday night. NC State just missed out on making the ACC championship game. Had they defeated Wake Forest, they would have gone in. But they did defeat North Carolina in very, very shocking and fun fashion, coming back down 9 points in the final 2 minutes to win that game. The Wolfpack finishing 9-3, up 2 spots for us. Excellent, excellent job from Dave Dover and his squad, guys. Unbelievable job. Been a consistent top 25 team just about all year long and continuing to play very, very good football. Same can be said for Arkansas. You know, the Razorbacks, some will say, why are they above Clemson? Why are they above Wisconsin? Arkansas just took down one of the toughest schedules in the country, guys. Went 8-4 with that schedule. Finished the year with a 34-17 victory over Missouri. Not necessarily a team you're going to brag about beating, but 8 wins with that schedule. 1 loss to Georgia, 1 loss to Alabama, 1 loss to Ole Miss by 1 point. They get the 2-point conversion. The Razorbacks win that game. The other loss to Auburn, who just took Alabama to the wire. So Arkansas, to me, really all year long has been a top 20, top 25 team, and they're going to finish 20th in our rankings as of right now going into Conference Championship weekend. They deserve that spot. They moved up 3 from 23rd to 20th. Final 5. Clemson was not ranked in our rankings last week. A lot of people disagreed with that. I was sold on Clemson. They were doing well. Everybody said, well, we beat Wake Forest. They were a top 10 team. Put us in. I said, not yet, right? Well, their dominant win over South Carolina kind of shows me that maybe Clemson has figured some things out. They're not going to the playoffs. They're not going to the ACC title game. But the Tigers finished 9-3. They have a chance to win their 10th game in the bowl game. And again, they just beat their in-state rival 30-0. So you're concluding the year with a big top 10 win over Wake Forest. Shut out your rival on the road 30-0. Yeah, they deserve to be ranked. Some may say higher. I don't think they're top 20 necessarily, but 21st, certainly worthy for Clemson. Dabo Swinney should get a solid bowl game later in December, early January. Texas A&M dropped 11 spots in our rankings. A&M might have been a little high. A&M may have been a little high in our rankings last week, and I guess that showed because they lost in the final seconds to LSU in Death Valley. The Aggies, guys, a major disappointment this year. A team that many thought could make the playoff, could challenge Alabama for the West. They did. They beat Alabama, still managed to lose the West. A&M finishing 8-4. So, yeah, they dropped 11 spots following that loss to LSU. Not acceptable if you're Jimbo Fisher and the Aggies. So 11 spots down for A&M. Wisconsin down 7 following a 10-point loss to Minnesota. The Badgers also finishing 8-4, but had a chance to win the West had they just defeated Minnesota. Couldn't get the job done. Minnesota had lost 16 of the last 17 to Wisconsin. Won the big one. Won the one that mattered the most, at least for the Badgers. And then rounding out our top 25, San Diego State hasn't moved in a while, guys. Strength of schedule playing a role with that. Some teams ahead behind them that have done better. Certainly deserve to jump the Aztecs, who are 11-1 and will be playing for the Mountain West Championship on Saturday. So teams ahead behind them, to jump them, deserve that. Some teams that have been below them have moved. I just don't see San Diego State rising outside the top 20 right now when you look at their entire strength of schedule. Big win over Boise State this last week. But the Aztecs, to me, are not more than a top 20 team. They deserve to be in that 20 to 25 range, and we're keeping them stagnant at 24th. Kentucky rounding out our top 25. The Wildcats 9-3, finished on a 3-game winning streak, just defeated Louisville 52-21. Mark Stoops continued to do a phenomenal job out in Lexington. People kind of wrote off the Wildcats a few weeks ago, guys, but they finished strong. Maybe against some inferior opponents, if you want to say, but finished strong, and they have a chance at another 10-win season. Again, if you would ask a Kentucky fan 5-6 years ago, hey, you might have 2 10-win seasons in the span of 4 4 or 5 years. They would have laughed at you. They said you were joking. They would have said, yeah, in our dreams. So Mark Stoops doing a fantastic job. Kentucky, a dang good football team. 9-3, easily could have been 10-2 or 11-1. Were unable to take advantage of their opportunities, but to me, deserve to be ranked in the top 25. Low, but still ranked in the top 25. So guys, there you have it. Our final Gridiron Expert top 25. Guys, heading into week 14, heading into conference championship weekend, it is going to be huge, 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 especially for those top 6 teams. Those top 6 teams that are all fighting for a playoff spot. Georgia is the lock, so really there are 3 spots up for grabs. 3 spots up for grabs right now. Who is going to get it? Who is going to be in next Sunday? We will have tons of analysis, tons of predictions out for that over the course of this week. So stay tuned, guys, but things are getting real. Things are getting real, and things are starting to wind down. College football is slowly but surely coming to a close, but we have a lot more chaos, a lot more excitement coming your way before we can officially start to talk about that. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, make sure to check out everything down in the description below. Go sign up for those expert picks. Again, 66% over the last 5 weeks. You're not going to find anywhere better, so go take advantage of that. One of the lowest prices in the country. We're not lying. Go check it out. The numbers speak for themselves. Also, make sure to go check out MyBookie. Use our promo code with the link down in the description below. All of that stuff there, guys, is to help you make money and take that money, because who doesn't want extra cash during the holiday season? Who doesn't want it? So go take advantage of it. We are here to help you. We are here to serve. So go take a look at it. Everything down in the description. Take advantage of it now. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.